Welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from MMA world and beyond.
It gets creepier and crazier, crazier and creepier.
Now that I'm the white guy in the dimly lit basement. Actually, I'm at Vox headquarters with the magic.
Oh.
See the
Oh! Hey, fuck you guys! Fuck you!
Yeah.
I'm your host, Lexi Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Nate of Bloody Elbow, and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Asking. We're afraid you get your ass kicked for asking and shouting at the man, baby.
That's real love. That's real love. He gets it right every time. That's amazing, isn't it, Kid Nate?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't now, would you?
But you know, the way that Kid does it adds a different flavor, if you will.
Yeah, a panache.
It's it's on other shows.
I'm a jazz artist. Improvisation.
That's right. Kind of like Miles Davis.
It's very similar. Very similar. Also a strong black nationalist, just like Brother Miles.
Without all that wife beating stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna get on that wife beating thing. I cannot abide. I'm like the guy in L.A. Confidential. Can't abide it, man.
Well, one thing I don't know if I think you would be able to abide, Eugene, is being WME-IMG.
Yes.
You inherited WWE superstar CM Punk's contract with the UFC.
Never mind. Sorry.
After witnessing his performance or lack thereof at UFC 203, media attention and buy rates, you can do what thou wilt.
Yep.
Walk us through your PR analysis of his future with your newly acquired company.
I mean, it's always nice when a guy takes a 100-foot flyer into total stupidity. It's really a beautiful thing, because at this point now, it's like I feel like that Mike Tyson line is reverberating in my head. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, you have to assume, you would hope honestly and earnestly that Mr. CM Punk, Mr. Brooks, had enough nuts stashed away for a rainy day that he knew that, hey, whatever way this goes, I'm okay. You certainly hope he was in that place, because if he's not in that place, he's in a place where it needs to be okay, because he has now thrown his fortune to the wind. Frequently, you'll find that fools who throw their fortunes to the wind end up with their asses up and a lot of happy people around them. So he do out that wilt is the whole of the law. People will go Aleister Crowley on the guy.
Isn't there something about love in there that's supposed to be added?
What's love got to do with it?
Yeah, I think Aleister Crowley's quote included.
It's just secondhand emotion, my friend, when you are laying face down on the floor in the church and it hurts. I mean, the guy has got nothing. He's got nothing.
Except $500,000 plus pay-per-view points.
Whatever, Jack. I remember at one point a woman said to me, $40 million is not enough to... Actually, it was my ex-wife. Said $40 million is not enough to retire on. I was like, I tell you what, if I get 40 mil, I retire, you keep working. So she goes, well, no, that's not quite fair. Fair or nothing. Look, I'm hoping the guy socked away enough, because, when he shows up in a WWE, they just feel embarrassed now. And that's not how they want to feel.
He left WWE on bad terms, and then mocked him after his loss. He's done there.
Pull out WME,
though. So he's, I mean, it's not like...
If you're WME, what do you do with him?
What can you, maybe you put this guy in a commercial like Eddie the Eagle. Remember Eddie the Eagle? He had a run. You remember Eddie? So you got to go down that lovable loser lane, because that's the only lane for you to play. There is no other. We have these people who fail upward, and they fail upward spectacularly, and there's a certain spot in American life for them, but they got to have some sort of insight, and they got to have some sense of humor about themselves, both of which seem to be absent in Mr. Punk's "I'll be back" take. You'll be back? What the fuck are you smoking? You're not going back anywhere. Try CCS. Try the Central Coast California Wrestling Championship. Try beating some amateur. Try King of the Cage. You'll be back at Gladiators Challenge if that show still even exists.
But you know what, though? But here's the thing.
There's nothing to do with this guy. Nobody wants to see him. Nobody.
Nate, do you agree?
He doesn't. I can see it on his face.
Well, the preliminary pay-per-view reports, which are always, you know, I mean, until we see it in actual paper, it doesn't mean much. But the estimates that are being reported are that the pay-per-view sales were way up from Steve.
Hey, you want? I'm gonna do some deaf person hand signaling. Here you go. See?
Except that's tens of millions of dollars for the UFC. I mean, $59.99 times several hundred thousand is a lot of money, even if they only taken half of it. But increasingly, their buys are on Fight Pass, so they're keeping it all. And so he just made them a ton of money. However, it's a one-time play. You can burn the yokels once, but you can't burn them twice. Like James Toney, I think, is the closest corollary to CM Punk. When James Toney came from boxing, he was already retired, had basically washed out of boxing, but he had a big mouth, he had a big name, he fought Randy Couture at UFC, I can't remember what it was, and talked a lot of shit. The numbers weren't that great, but it was just enough to get a little bit of buzz. He added a couple hundred thousand pay-per-view buys. He got humiliated. That was that. Yep. But Tony was happy. You know, Tony, I think, would have been happy to come back and fight again. But everybody saw the guy had no MMA game whatsoever, regardless of what his boxing skills were. If you can take him down with a low outside single leg takedown and beat the shit out of him on the ground, nobody really wants to see him fight. CM Punk had even less than that. You know, he came in, swooped in, over aggressive, wasn't in a good posture for a sprawl. Apparently had no concept of a sprawl. Got taken down. You know, double leg takedown as easy as pie. I think, however, there's a simple and elegant solution. Excuse me while I sneeze. There's an opening on Dana White's show with Matt Serra, and I think we're going to talk about Nick the Tooth in a minute. I think CM Punk would be perfect as a third with Dana White and Matt Serra going around scouting talent. He can use his "I had a dream" speech and give it to these fighters. So you want to be a fighter? Go around, talk to the regional guys. I think he's a personality. I think he's got a huge following. I mean, I know he's got a huge following. Milk it. Like, bring him in as part of the brand. I don't see any reason not to make him part of the ongoing festivities.
Milk what? Milk what? He's going to
hang. His name brand.
Actually,
to his speech.
People, look. Who was that chick on The View who everybody hated? What was her name? Elizabeth something.
Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
Yeah, and people liked watching her just because they liked her. They liked seeing her say something, and everybody else on the panel look at like, you're fucking stupid, you know. And then they would go back. She was like a comic foil of sorts.
It makes for good TV. Witness Eugene right here on this show.
But if you're gonna tell me that we're gonna tune in to Looking for a Fight just to see Dana White fucking abuse CM Punk, I mean, if they're gonna do that, just have him fight again. You know, have him fucking. I mean, I don't mind seeing him. I'm a sadist. I don't mind seeing him abused. Like to quote Tito in regards to Ken Shamrock, we could fight. We could do this every week if you want. You know.
And that and that's combined with what you guys said earlier is what they should try. I disagree in terms of him, you know, just not letting him fight again. I think you have to. The fact of the matter is, if it's true that he added in money into the coffers of WME-IMG, you try to milk it for as much as you can. How do you do that? I suggest they go into a basic professional wrestling storyline, which is he got his ass beat. Can we find someone he can beat?
Oh.
That's what you do. He doesn't necessarily have to be on the pay-per-view. You can put him on Fight Pass. It could be a Fight Pass feature every couple of months.
Hey, you know what?
Here's this guy. Can he beat him? No, he can't because this guy is a good striker. Let's find somebody else. And in doing that, it's kind of like you maximize as much as you can.
No. I got it.
Watching it's over.
I got it.
What's
Two words, my friend. Joe Cavey. I wrote about Joe Cavey for Ozzy. Joe Cavey, I think it's Cavey. You go to Ozzy.com, it's there. He is 0-26.
Right.
And he's still in. I would fucking pay to see that as a main card.
There you go. Well, and that's the thing is that's what in the worst case scenario, he doesn't bring in the eyeballs or dollars, right? But in the situation where he still has some kind of appeal, that I think who you just mentioned, that's the role model for him. And you can totally show different aspects. You utilize him. Look, when people talk about, oh, you bring this guy in, CM Punk, and it's ruining the brand, I totally disagree. I think it's good to take a person who has no combat skills and background and show them get their ass beat. I think it's great. It shows you can't do this at home, right?
Right.
So you can exploit that to the fullest. Have different things, and when he gets to maybe 0-26, maybe you put him up against that guy. I would milk it out a little longer before
I would put him up against that guy now.
That would be fun. I think that would be very fun.
I mean, wouldn't that be of interest just to see, like, okay, if whether you put him up against that guy or somebody else, just to see, like, okay, can this guy get a win? What would it take for a CM Punk to get a win? And that you don't have to put on the pay-per-view unless there's like a really big audience for it. But I think there's something. I don't think that the experiment's over for this guy. It depends on how much and how willing he wants to participate in it. But I think you have a good couple of fights left.
What measure I could used to use when I figured out my second job out of college, and I was at a company picnic. And I hated this company, and I hated my boss, and I didn't realize that the feeling was mutual until I met his wife. And he's like, Eugene, this is my wife, and I meet his wife, and his wife obviously had heard about me many a time over dinner. She's like, oh, hi. And I was like, that's how you tell if your boss hates you. If the partner fucking hates you, you know he's been talking shit about you over dinner. So it's like when I hear CM Punk's name, I'm like, oh, hi. I can't imagine that there's anybody who wants him anywhere.
If you're making money from him, though, Eugene, that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I got that. I got that money, but that money is predicated on somebody somewhere wanting him.
There were two things that I've seen in the comments on Bloody Elbow and on Facebook and Twitter that people liked about CM Punk. One was a lot of idiots bought the whole "he had a dream" speech. Like, as stupid
I have a
as
dream.
it sounds.
What's that one from?
How come these guys are not donating money to my GoFundMe campaign so that I can ride in the Kentucky Derby? Is that too much to ask?
That's I have a nightmare.
Well, maybe you shot yourself up with state-of-the-art steroids, just like the horses.
That's right, because a 300-pound jockey, that's going to happen.
I thought you meant you were going to be running like. Never mind.
Oh, I could do that too.
But so part two.
That's one thing. Some people actually bought his speech, as dumb as it was, and two, a lot of people were like, "Look how much money he made the company, and look how much money he made himself." It's the Trump voter ethos, like, oh, somebody succeeded at something, and they're drawn to that. So. There's a little something.
I'm the sucker. I paid my money to see it. He's rich.
Yeah, right.
I'm so stupid.
Exactly. People love to sucker self-flagellate. And now I'm broke. My kids won't go to college.
But exactly. I'm living the dream with CM Punk. That's
yeah.
And then you say, honey, guess what? Look, you think it was a waste of money? But I didn't get my face bashed, he did.
I'm sure the wife is going to completely understand.
The next day, he gets his face bashed in by the wife. Like,
yeah. My husband is so smart.
I sold the truck for 5 magic beans.
Right. Exactly, right.
All right. So, Nate, your former Looking for a Fight star, Nick the Tooth. Your former co-star Matt Serra told Bruce Buffer on the It's Time podcast you were extracted from the show after almost getting to a fist fight with your other co-star, UFC President Dana White, over a tasing incident.
Over losing the match to Matt Serra.
That too. Is looking for Viacom a viable stopgap measure for your career, or is it best to avoid obsessive compulsion with the UFC's molar opposite?
That's terrible, Eugene. Alexi, those puns are...
kill you, right?
Yeah, that's killing me. Nick the Tooth is a classic example of forgetting who you are and why you're here. Nick the Tooth is the guy that worked for Elvis handing out the sweat rags on stage and giving out the keys to the new Cadillacs. You don't have a plan B. You're a satellite of Dana White. This is what you are. You don't get lippy with the boss. You don't... And also... The guy apparently was upset about 2 things. One, he got tased. All 3 of them got tased. He reacted much more visibly than the other 2, and then insisted that it must have been faked because you know, I think there's no shame in squealing when you get tased. I think most people know tasers work. And if the other two guys, there's a lot of angles you could take if the other two guys didn't squeal. You could be like, hey, you fat fucks are so fucking fat, you're insulated from the tase. I mean, there's tons of ways he could have gone with the tasing thing, but cooking up a conspiracy theory as in they tased me and not the other two guys, it's just stupid. And then secondly, getting upset that you lost a jiu-jitsu match to Matt Serra. Matt Serra, who's a tournament champion jiu-jitsu player, who's a black belt, who's a former world champion UFC fighter. Of course you're going to lose to Matt Serra. There is literally zero shame for 99.9% of the population in losing a jiu-jitsu match to Matt Serra badly. I mean, the guy is a fucking professional, and you're not, Nick the Tooth. I'm sorry. At this point, Nick the Tooth, you've screwed the pooch. Like, I don't think there's any amount of crawling on your belly that will bring you back to the show, but I would be doing that if you treasure your career in the public, because this is all he's got.
Man. How is it you're gonna cut all this fucking slack from Mr. Brooks just because he made a few bucks for somebody, and that Nick the Tooth, an original, an original.
I mean, original.
Seriously, I mean, what do you think? He's
baby.
He's the MMA Steve-O, you know. I mean, but it's not a put on, you know. He's the guy.
At best, he's the guy from Happy Mondays that shook the maracas or whatever, or the guy from Brian Jonestown Massacre that had the sunglasses. I mean,
yeah, whatever,
man. A hanger on.
Oh, so what are you saying? He's a Linda McCartney.
Yeah, he's the roadie from the Allman Brothers. Like, I'm sure the blowjobs were great, but if you leave the Allman Brothers, you don't do the blowjobs anymore. That's the deal. Like, you are not an entity in and of yourself, Nick the Tooth. I'm sorry. CM Punk is. He was the WWE World Champion, which doesn't mean anything athletically, but in terms of name, brand, and value, that's a real thing. And Nick the Tooth does not have that. The guy has no cachet, no credibility, no millions of Twitter followers.
He claims going back to
hey, buddy. He follows EUGEN'S on Twitter.
Oh.
I'm all in. I'm all in for my man Nick the Tooth. I'm sorry.
I tried to warn him. It's not what you're selling. It's what you're buying. If you're following Eugene on Twitter,
he said he's taking this opportunity to, you know, he has a book that he's writing and he's going to be behind deadlines, so he's taking the time to invest in.
He's writing a book. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey.
Man, this is he's noted author Alexi Old or anything.
Well, he should have, if he needed the motivation. Hello, secret sources, baby. Other than it's not White.
7 sexy secret sources.
That's the Eugene edition, baby.
Yeah, right. So no. I mean, if I'm Nick the Tooth, whatever. I mean, look. He could start doing stand-up comedy. He could start let's go, champ. He could pull one of those things. He could. I mean, at this point now, you got to take that 15 minutes and stretch it to half an hour in any way you could do it. You know, why not jump up at a presser and slap the fuck out of the bald one? I mean, you got to do something.
Handcuffs and assault charges. That's why.
Hey, man, it's you know, at one
and
point,
also bodyguards and goons.
When I'm standing there with Bill Clinton, I'd be lying if I said I didn't for half a second think I gotta make some headlines. And in my head, I got this video image of me turning around and going slap, and the Secret Service would wrestle me to the floor. But man, the next day when I got out of jail, people would be asking. You know, it's a Nathaniel West. It's Day of the Locust, man. You know, our addiction to fame and the limelight knows no boundaries, you know. And so if you think Nick the Tooth is going to shuffle off into this good night, you are wrong, you know.
He was a subsidiary character on a Fight Pass show. This wasn't even on television. This got tens of thousands of viewers.
Hey, at least he's a local hero, man. At the very least, he's going back to the bar and they're standing him drinks for the next 14 months. And
what are they asking? Hey, Nick, tell us again how you would have beaten Matt Serra.
All right, okay. Hey, so he cheated first of all, okay, and then he tapped. I mean, nobody saw the tap. It was a verbal tap. You know. I like these guys who have nickels and they parlay them into dollars.
This is a guy who took a nickel and parlayed it into a penny.
Man, you're a tough man.
That's right. He's like,
hard.
Kimye, that new location, baby. Is just...
Ezra Klein just walked by, guys.
There you go.
Oh, hey, give me some money, you bastard!
So, speaking about money and bastards, At.You're Taylor Swift. After losing the PR battle against Kimye and gaining an MTV VMA banned by Beyonce, an internet conspiracy has resurfaced claiming you are a clone of Satanic leader Zeena LaVey, with whom you share a seemingly supernatural similitude. Is it time to resuscitate your career by dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight? Or will losing your well-learned politesse lay your PR soul to waste?
Well, man, this is very thin, delicate ice for me to trod upon. Because
please. Because you had your own feuds with Taylor Swift.
No, because I just wrote the piece for Ozzy on my association with Anton LaVey, who was the former head of the Church of Satan, and then he dies, and then the family's there's a swelter and conflict. They're all attacking each other, and they're suing, and then there's Zeena, and then I got other people who were associated with the publishing of his books who were telling me, oh yeah, well, she gave me VD, and then there's, it's just a dirty, and then the different wives are at each other, the different kids are at each other. The only one who's been pleasantly quiet is a young son, Xerxes, who I think is about 20 years old at this point. I haven't heard anything from him. And Peter Gilmore is now the Magus, and then Boyd Rice had been the head of the church that he was in, and it was just chaos, the kind of way you would expect it to be, in the aftermath. I mean, these things don't exist beyond the titular heads. But in this, actually, he's not Satan, so he wouldn't be the titular head. But in any case, Taylor Swift, look, I think she's got her hands right now full after having dumped the news-seeking Thomas Hiddleston, which I was like, he wanted too much press. He's using me. Oh, really? A press whore is concerned about being press whored. You got to be fucking kidding me.
No one.
Yeah, I mean, Hiddleston, I hated him because I thought he was actually going to talk himself into James Bond, and he's completely the wrong person for James Bond. James Bond, you have to get the sense that James Bond could fuck you up. Thomas Hiddleston is not fucking anybody up. He's not even fucking up Taylor Swift. So to go back to the question.
I thought you were against that.
I'm not talking about fist fighting, man.
I see.
Saucy.
Cat scratch of the PR war.
No, I'm talking about laying it down.
Laying down the pipe.
Laying the, I mean,
How do you know?
Hey, man, never in the history of humanity has a guy who's been able to lay it down been dumped. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Some gigolos have been dumped, despite their. But I once got the.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man!
I once got that, and I was like, can you write that down, please? Can I get that? Can I get that reference in writing? That was.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, look, Taylor Swift. If you don't know who floated this story, if you don't know who's behind this, you haven't paid attention to LaVey or the Church of Satan for years. I mean, I don't know enough, and she's a Facebook friend of mine. She seems pretty nice person. Is not.
Who, Taylor Swift or the LaVey?
Zeena. I mean, she was a kid when I was hanging out with her dad. The other one, Carla, is the one who I knew, who's a little bit older and perfectly nice person. But I believe it's par for the course. Apple tree, fruit falling far from that. This is something that's and whatever. 15 minutes.
Stay away. She should just stay away from it.
From Taylor's point of view, it's just nutty talk. From Zeena's point of view, it's complete genius. So.
What do you think, Nate?
Well, I think either Taylor can rip off her mask and reveal that she's one of the lizard people that I think David Icke has been warning us about.
Also known as a gray.
A gray, yes. Or either that or she can just ignore this. And as far as the Church of Satan, I mean, big props to the Church of Satan and Anton LaVey for not going out like Madalyn Murray O'Hair, the former atheist leader who was murdered in the early 90s along with their son and daughter in a horrific tragedy wherein one of their underlings killed them for some money they had just extorted from a wealthy benefactor. So I love that the atheists were running the same scam as all the preachers of slurking up to people on their deathbed and getting them to sign over their inheritance, but it came to a bad end for the O'Hairs, and LaVey didn't come to that quite bad an end.
No, so, he beat me out of a couple of dinners.
We heard, Donna Shalala. We heard. But
I didn't tell a story. I indicated the story. You get Donna Shalala indication.
I just had to reference Donna Shalala for new viewers. Perhaps not know that he once played golf with Clinton's secretary.
Donna Shalala. Donna Shalala, you're Donna Shalala.
I thought you can't Donna Shalala if it hasn't been mentioned on the show.
I don't think the Donna Shalala backstory has been mentioned on the show, so it's technicality from our lawyer, Alexei.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, yeah, Taylor Swift, it serves no purpose for her to bring this up. She's still smarting from losing the round with the Kanye's badly.
Oh, my God.
And I saw the famous video, though. It was very strange and disturbing. Like, when George W. Bush was in bed with all the other... That was.
I didn't.
But here's the reason. But the thing to keep in mind, though, with regard to Taylor Swift is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, like, the whole flirtation. You know, Beyonce Illuminati, the Baphomet ring. Like, there's the Kanye West. You know, there are a number of videos where people straight up think that there is an Illuminati. That Beyonce, when she talked about Sasha Fierce and like channeling, there's a huge industry in the belief that Satan is running the music industry. So if you have a situation in place where
it goes all the way back to Led Zeppelin, Kiss.
Well, yeah. And then even
or Procter and Gamble and the toothpaste and the stars. Right.
So if you
Ixnay on the Procter and Gamble pay.
Skull and Bones. Sorry, gotta go.
So if you have this in place and people who have greater visibility than you and sell more records than you do, have been able to parlay it, and you just dumped Loki, right? So, there's nothing there for it. It's just not.
Hey,
they can do it.
I got to share something with you guys. Like as we're doing the show, my kids bought me a new bag for my birthday, so I'm going to take all the shit that I've been lugging around crazily for months in the old bag and the new bag, and so I have this tin. Right?
Is it Mr. Marcus's breath mints?
No, it's close. So I open up this tin just now, and
it's Anton LaVey's teeth.
I've got Deutschmarks and I've got euros, but then, as par for the course for Eugene Robinson, I have got a mystery pill. People were always giving me narcotics. So this pill says, I'm going to hold it up for you. I know E20. I thought it was a hip hop guy from Oakland.
Yeah, E40. That's like half of E20.
Yeah, right.
E40.
Right. So I have this. It's been in my bag for probably about 8 years. Somebody passed it to me at a show. I have no idea what it does. The question is, which of you would take this pill?
Brian Jones would take it, and that's why he's dead.
I'm going to try to find somebody to take this pill. Either of you interested?
I wouldn't even take an Altoid. If that was a thing of Altoids and there was an Altoid in there that said Altoids, I wouldn't take that. I don't eat after people.
You wouldn't take an Altoid, much less a pill that says E20.
No. My sophomore year in high school, some stoner tried to give me a muscle relaxer. I said, no, thanks.
No.
I'm high on life.
So that's what they call it.
Yeah.
So my mate, Amy Schumer.
I think. All right, go ahead.
When a Latino Twitter user put you and Lena Dunham on blast for participating in what Dunham admitted was, quote, a violent history of the over-sexualization of black male bodies, as well as false accusations by white women towards black men, end quote, you tweeted and deleted, quote, how would you know? Statistically, who is hollering at you in the street more, pa, end quote. If white sheets are the new black in this age of outrage, why are you wearing yellow?
I think deleting the tweet was the right move. She shouldn't have tweeted it in the first place. When you're in the hole, stop digging. It's simple enough. Like I think Amy Schumer done fucked up, not enormously, but a little bit. And she can either shut the fuck up or she can go and try to play some victim cards and maybe do some videos of herself getting catcalled on the street, and then turn around and say, look who's Latinos, and then announce she's a Trump voter and go all the way, Make America great again.
She should talk to Lisa Lampanelli, and Lisa Lampanelli could go, okay, this is the way it works. If you're over 175 pounds, the number of men who are willing to notice you on the street winnows down to black dudes. All right.
Now that's racist.
Fuck that. Hey.
And involved in that kind of hate speech.
I'm okay with larger women. It's either black dudes or Pacific Islanders. I don't see any, And okay, you go
now
from
you're doubling down.
Yeah, I'm gonna triple down. You go to 155 to 175, then you get Latino dudes in there. But white cats, you're not gonna find white cats anywhere north of 155, unless, realistically speaking, unless they're what they call affectionately a chubby chasers.
Or shit-faced.
Yeah, right. And then you don't see them in the morning because they're running out to take photos and show their friends that they beg the fat chick.
Have you not been to Golden Corral?
Or Red Lobster, or any there's eateries.
There's no buffet at Red Lobster.
Go to Waffle House in Asheville, North Carolina, and see.
Well, I'll tell you something.
How did you pick Asheville? That's like the most liberal, hippy-dippy town in the entire South.
I played there, so that's how I know.
It's like I had a friend who talked about there was this place in the Maryland area called Chesapeake Bay Seafood House. It was all the seafood you can eat. And we had a friend that came in from New Jersey to visit who went there and was like, the fuck? And so ever since then, she had a saying for certain people, Chesapeakes, if she saw walking around. So,
Well, but the reality
there were like a lot of there's a lot of white on white going on at that restaurant.
Well, but the thing is, what the big story here, and what people are completely missing, and anybody with like a sort of a punk rock background, a history, recognizes that, people would say, oh man, isn't the fucking pit dangerous? And they go, no, it's dangerous if you were an outside dickhead and were just hitting people on the dance floor. And if you remember in the old days, it'd be the mosh pit, and somebody would step over that fucking line, and then you would see a hand go up, and the hand would go like this. Bing, bing, point out that guy, and then there would be like, then people would start to kind of coalesce around him, and then it was a fucking 20-on-1, and the guy hadn't seen it coming at all. That's Amy Schumer. They're starting to the negative publicity is starting to pile up way too fast, too quick. She's defending the rape row. She's hanging out with Lena Dunham, who is dicking over some dude who doesn't dig on Lena Dunham. Maybe he didn't talk to Lena Dunham because Lena Dunham didn't put any fucking black dudes on the show until she was forced to put on fucking Childish Gambino or whoever the cat was.
Yeah.
Stupid shores. So all of a sudden, it's a rhythmic issue. It's a rhythmic issue. You can have, in terms of PR kerfuffles, you can have PR kerfuffle. Boom, 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 boom. PR kerfuffle. Boom, boom. If that's your rhythmic pattern, you're okay. If you're like, PR kerfuffle. PR, you're falling down a fucking flight of stairs, at the bottom of which you may not stand up and walk away. What was her fucking shelf life anyway? How many times is she going to essentially tell the same joke, which is like, I'm a fat, brassy, sassy chick. Great, thanks. Next. Seriously, there are a lot of women who are a lot funnier than she is. Why, that one I could drink with the best of the dudes. I can hold it down, and I can say all kinds of, Chelsea Handler looks better and does the same thing. So why her,
Man.
A lot of hating.
There is.
Hate.
Hey, and also don't forget what you pointed out in Knuckle Up, Eugene. When she was catcalled, the last big public catcalling, won the brother.
Yeah, right. That's right. At her show, show us your tits. I don't think there's a single black guy in the history of black guys who ever screamed out, show us your tits. Yeah. That just like there was a single black guy in the 1970s in New York who used the word fuckface.
I didn't know that was a whites only.
That was a whites only zone, man. If a black guy was calling you anything in the 70s, it was motherfucker. No, this is reality. Fuckface wasn't. It was a throwback. like guys who remember the 70s who wanted to recall the whole disco sucks era, and they were channeling, Irish or Italian cat from Bay Ridge. They might call you fuckface. I still use fuckface like in the same way that I use prick. You go into certain Italian neighborhoods, it's like it's like it's like a snare drum. You prick 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 that motherfucker, prick 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 prick. Yeah, no, but that's not something you heard north of 110th Street, prick or fuckface. You had to go downtown for that kind of stuff.
Speaking of that kind of stuff and ethnic flavors in public, if you will, Eugene, your Univision. The Gawker Media Editorial Union condemned, quote, in the strongest possible terms, end quote, your deletion of what they called, quote, 6 true and accurate news stories, end quote, from their archive in an act of your new ownership. Can you explain the PR behind your decision and how to deal with theirs?
Oh man, this is a case. This is a fucking case of somebody about to learn a really valuable lesson about how much they weigh. I tell you, and I don't think you could Donna Shalala me on this. I used to be the editor-in-chief of EQ magazine, and at one point I decided to do a whole issue of microphones, a microphone roundup, and there is.
How can I not Donna Shalala this? You've told the story a dozen times.
Go ahead. What is the story?
Because you gave honest reviews of the microphones, you lost a bunch of advertising, and the guys from Tape Ops sat you down and gave you the moral of the story, which is, if you don't like it, just don't review it.
Wrong! See? Yeah, you got the story right for the first part, but the last part was a conversation I had with my drummer. Yeah? You don't think you know everything.
I cut out at least 5 minutes of unnecessary.
It's like a Don Shay, not like a Donna Shalala. It's like a Don.
Audio Technica was the name of the company. And so my drummer, I'm ranting at practice, and my drummer looks at me and goes, "Go ahead, kid name."
You're a fucking idiot. That's what he said to you. He told you just to sit down and shut up because it's who's paying the bills here.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's it. So Gawker, who had their ass handed to them, who are lucky to find a patron saint in the new prison. It's like you were about to get gang raped in San Quentin, and Univision steps up and goes, "Hey, you can live in my cell," and then you turn on them because they've made you wear high heel shoes. Can't do it. Man. How do we get down to this disturbing prison rape arena? I don't know.
Same way we always get through.
You led us directly down that path.
So you guys need to shut the fuck up pretty quickly, because at this point now we're looking at search and destroy. If you think the guys at Univision are not gonna go, hey, wait a minute, and just boom, get that fucker out. And if you don't think they're scanning their emails right now to find out who's complaining, you're going to be out. Hey, the new boss, what is it, the Who song?
New boss. Different
from the old boss. We're not fucking around. You guys are here for a very specific reason, and you're going to play ball or you're going to play alone at home.
You don't think it's some angling by them to have some... Oh, when they eventually get fired or terminated, like, oh, we're too wild for Univision.
And who's going to hire you?
Exactly.
At this point, the number of rising young websites that are out to attack the rich and powerful is shrunk to zero. So, yeah.
They thought that the guys at fucking Spy, they were never going to see it, or they were riding a rocket to the top. It's interesting to me who makes it, who does it. National Lampoon, I don't even know if it's still a real magazine, right? Is it still
published? Tons of guys got rich and famous off of working at National Lampoon.
Licensing
not Spy.
No, Spy didn't, and Exile didn't either. Matt Taibbi survived the wreckage, but nobody else did.
Exactly. So I mean, The Onion has made out all right. Vice has made out all right, but these young Turks a lot of time, nope. So
one story I never Donna Shalala is Eugene complaining about Vice not paying him. And by the way, Matt Iglesias just got a Diet Coke. So. Yes.
I don't know who Matt Iglesias is.
He's Ezra Klein's number 2 at Vox.com.
Oh, I thought he was related to Julio and Enrique.
No.
We are talking Univision after all. Yeah. So, what's your take on it, Nate?
Yeah, these guys need to sit down and shut up. They're, at the point when the guy from Girls Gone Wild is coming out and saying, "Hey, I funded the suits too. Fuck Gawker." you're done. When that guy is dancing on your grave, you are done. Like, just shut up. Gawker has zero reputation for editorial credibility, whether that's fair or not. I think they did some important stories. I liked them being out there because they were willing to bite the hand that feed and speak truth to power, et cetera, et cetera. But they also fucked with a lot of people for no reason. And karma came and bit him in the ass. I'm not a big fan of Peter Thiel and the whole concept of billionaires crushing, $1 million media companies. I don't think that's such a good precedent.
I saw him a few days ago.
Oh, yeah?
In what context?
In Palo Alto, walking down the street.
I see. Did you catcall him?
I felt like jumping out and slapping him right the fuck off.
That's what I was going to ask you. Slap him in the face.
I mean, wouldn't it have been funnier if you'd been like, tight ass?
Yeah, that could have ended up in the wrong place in the wrong way for me, but
Yeah, that's right. It would have been, since he's gay.
Well, if you had your E20 pill, you say,
we
might have to edit that whole bit with the pill out because that's just.
Hey, I want somebody who knows. No, I'm not taking. It's a bad thing if I took the pill. You're
offering it to strangers. Are you going to be carding them to see if they're adults?
You are not a stranger.
Well, I'm not taking your fucking pill either.
I offered it to you and Alexi. Yeah, hey, but I'm sorry. I got to share this with you. I won't say who it's from. The guy writes.
Is it Nick the Tooth?
No, it could be. The guy says, "Man, oh man, that reoccurring story of erectile dysfunction finally slithered its way into my fucking brain pan. I listened to Knuckle Up Sunday, and then there was that reference again. Then, that night, I hung out with an old friend, and I swore I could hear you laughing as my Jimmy just lay flaccid in her mouth. Hashtag, look what you made me not do."
Well, he said hanging with some friends was, So
we do not need to be telling viewers that they're going to catch impotence from watching the show. That is not good.
No, but hey,
you just can't get it up.
Also, if you don't like somebody, right? It's like, hey, get your friends to get hooked on this show.
I tell you, when I was hanging out with Mr. Marcus, the porn star, he would say, guys are always wanting to hang out with me because they think it's going to be a big party. But you know what? I don't dig anybody eating off my plate. And I go, I don't know, what are you talking about? He goes,
crumbs from the table.
These guys want to, these guys want to come hang out with me. You know what I tell them? So, sure, come over to the house at 7. Don't come alone. And I was like, what? Oh, I get it. So if you're a fool enough to bring a woman over to Mr. Marcus's place, you think you're going to buy your way in? No. What he's saying is, I am willing to have sex with the women you bring to me. And that's it.
What an enticing offer. You could be Gollum to my Shelob the Spider. Just keep bringing me offerings.
Exactly. It's like, man, that's mafia style. Let me get this straight. I'm going to pay you 10%. Yup. That's it. That's it. Well, what kind of sense does that make? It's not 15%.
If you make a really big score, they're going to squeeze you for 50, 75, maybe 100%.
Right.
If they don't think you got another score in you, yeah.
I'll have sex with half the women you bring me. The other half, they're on the cuff, So.
Yeah. So I bring Dracula rats, spiders, dogs, and I'm moving up. Up.
That's right. Renfield. All right.
Yes. Oh, Lord. Well, speaking about moving on up, it brings us to our teachable moment.
To the east side.
Nate, you're Hillary Clinton. For weeks, your health has been questioned.
Sorry. I'm feeling great.
I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry about me. It's just a cough.
He's not at Vox. Yeah. He's at a doctor's office. For weeks, your health has been questioned by right-wing media members and the Trump campaign.
Matt Drudge, no less.
You even joked on Jimmy Kimmel's show that it was, quote, a wacky strategy, end quote, from the campaign. Yeah. But during a September 11th ceremony last Sunday, you collapsed and blamed it on the heat.
Yeah. 83 degrees.
Hey, man. I grew up in the Marion Barry era where coke sweats would occur like in the heart of winter.
There you go. Look at there I am.
At the doctor's office.
Office. Yep.
Clean bill of health. This guy's ready to be president.
Only to finally admit you were diagnosed with pneumonia days before. Your doctors said you were, quote, put on antibiotics and advised to rest and modify your schedule, end quote. As a result, you found it best to rest and canceled campaign commitments. What can we learn from your failure to fess up?
Was it
You
postponed?
asking me? Or you asking Nate?
No, it's me. Don't hurt my question. Jesus.
Don't bogart my question, bro.
Yeah. Was it De La Soul that had the stop lying track? Because that's what Clinton needs to do. Is fucking just tell the truth. You get pneumonia, no harm, no foul. You say, hey, got pneumonia, taking a couple days off. Put your doctor on the media, take a couple days off. It's in a way admirable that she tried to soldier through, but apparently she also has this aversion to drinking water because she doesn't want to take pee breaks. And so I can understand. I mean, one thing people don't understand is the fucking campaign trail is hard. Hey, don't heckle you get your shot. One thing people do not have any fucking idea of is how hard her schedule is. This is a woman who gets up early, stays up late, busts her ass all day, is on camera or on microphone hour after hour.
God for the money.
And it is grueling, but that's the gig. That's the deal. And you got to take care of yourself. You got to have some staffers that you listen to. All the buzz coming out of the campaign is that the staff is afraid to tell her, Hillary, you've got pneumonia. Sit down, take a day off. They won't even try it because they're all terrified of her because she does not want to be told the truth. None of that it's not good. It's just fucking stupid. I'm like the Republican operatives that got quoted in Politico the other day who are terrified because they can't believe that Clinton could be losing to this fucking idiot. And I'm in the same camp. Like, how do you piss away a 10-point lead against Donald fucking Trump? Like, what are you fucking thinking? It's time for Hillary to pull her head out of her ass and get it together. And that video footage of her feigning is just murder, especially after the Trump people laid the groundwork with all this idiotic conspiracy crap they've been putting out there. And Clinton's approach has been to attack the media. I mean, they were pushing back hard. Peter Dow and other spokespeople for her were hitting back, asking about Clinton's health. It's just feeding the conspiracy beast. And now they've lost their credibility completely. It's time for the Clinton campaign to have a come to Jesus, fire some people, get some grown-ups in there that can tell her what's what.
Like Nate Wilcox.
Fuck no. I am out of that game.
Yeah,
I was terrible at it, too, because I was always telling politicians what they didn't want to hear.
Yeah, you know what? It's unforced error after unforced error after unforced error. Okay, the only way that I can feel good about what I'm about to do in November is the fact that I'm just not down with lunatics, and
How about punch the 69-year-old women with oxygen tanks? Did you see that? Some Trump supporter punched a 69-year-old woman at a rally. He was making America great again.
He's
looking for a fight with CM Punk.
No, he was chanting Trump, 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 and she was walking behind him saying dump, 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 and he just whirled around, knocked her down over her oxygen tank.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I'm getting ready to dismiss the story until I saw a picture and saw she's an old white lady, and I was like, oh shit. That's a big story. Now that's a story because we know how things work in America. Now it's a story, I mean, I'm still kind of shaking my head at Oliver Stone casting in his movie the World Trade Center, casting the valiant Marine as a white guy.
There just weren't that many minority actors out there.
Nate Parker was busy.
Where's my wallet where I can get my Screen Actor Guild card and hold it?
You're too old to play Marine, Eugene. I hate to break it to you.
I think got special effects.
I look the same age as that guy, the actual guy.
There we go.
But
crack.
But yeah, no, the Hillary campaign, it's a mockery of a travesty of a sham, and the only reason that she's even still alive is just, I mean, this is the thing. They don't. God, man, they really need us. They really need us. We never would have let that happen. Ever. I mean, so now what they're trying to counter with is like, oh, well, clearly there's a gender bias here because, you know, if the Donald had a cough, people would be making a big deal about it. Or if he got the heat, you have sympathy. Like when George Bush passed out at the Japanese dinner from the food poisoning, people were okay.
It's
Whatever,
not like any
man.
comedians made hay with that for weeks,
Yeah,
months, and years.
whatever.
Remember the monkey? They had a monkey in Japan that like did the George Bush imitation.
Yeah. And I mean, that's right. I mean, look, you know, this is a very serious time now. Up until November, these are. I mean, okay, right now you got what they call the silly season. Before the debates, nothing really matters before the debates. But this is setting shit up for the debates. You know, setting shit up for the debates. And you know, if you can play a game with 30 pieces, play a game with 30 pieces. But if you're throwing away piece after piece, you got to realize it's going to be substantially harder to play that game with 5 pieces. You know, you just gave them one. Why? What unnecessary from top to bottom. It's, you know, you need us. You need us. Like he said, clean house, get some people who know what the fuck. I won't bullshit you.
That's for sure.
That would be such a great moment. And when if it happened, they document it, and then we say behind the scenes of the Hillary camp. Why did she turn around in the polls, crushing Trump?
Right. And what she needs to do right now, is grab herself a fucking tennis racket and go out with Chelsea and be photographed playing tennis with her daughter. That's what she needs to do. In the hot heat sun of New York City.
And drinking bottle after bottle of water.
Yep. Play yourself around.
So no,
or whatever they call it in tennis.
Her.
Huh?
No, she doesn't have to smack anybody in the face yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not in public. Just fire her entire staff.
Yep.
Today they're pushing out how the whole staff has pneumonia. This is after they said they were insisting that it
Charles Schumer from Flatbush, you know.
She's out there shaking hands and kissing babies and swearing it's not contagious. And today's story is that it's contagious and the whole staff have it. It's just like, stop lying, people. Stop lying.
No, or lie well. I've told my oldest kid, hey, kid, I'm not going to stand here in front of you and say that you shouldn't lie. I'm just going to say you shouldn't lie poorly.
I learned from some pros, don't lie. Make statements that allow people to draw false inferences. That's an entirely different game.
Or like I've told many persons, it's not so much that I'm lying. It's just that I'm saying things that don't end up coming true.
It's just that you're coming away with impressions that aren't necessarily what's true.
Correct.
It's not what I intended. It's just an unfortunate misunderstanding.
Right. All right.
Well, speaking about
oh man,
Eugene.
I got to nominate Matt Iglesias as Pants for the Lost Battalion, but that's just anyway. Go ahead.
All right. I'm sorry, I got to jump the gun on this one, man. We all know where I'm going with this. We have a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient for the Lost Battalion, and I don't care. Joe tried to save him. Joe, of course, kicked him off the boat, and then tried to save him because he felt guilty about kicking him off the boat. But the reality of it is, Congressional Medal of Honor winner for the Lost Battalion. And the best thing is when he showed him the fucking thing, the look on his face, that was priceless. And I know Joe got back to the fucking production truck and just said, that fucking sucks, man. Dude was brain boggled. I've been knocked out in an MMA match. I said crazy things afterward, but they weren't that crazy, but they were a little crazy. Like I tripped, I fell, let me go again. Unfortunately, it was at the end of the round, so I could go a second round, and I got choked out. And I said, man, I'll get that guy next time. Crazy stuff, but you know what? I am not a professional veteran of 71 fucking fights. You know, and realistically, given what the payroll is on that guy, given how old he is, given the layout of the heavyweight division and its near-term and mid-term future, he's as done can be.
Alistair Overeem, for those who couldn't hear, the stuttering and muttering Eugene was doing there.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep. That was, it was Tiki Gosen level. I don't know if you all remember when Gosen lost to Robbie Lawler and popped up, I just got cut. I'm ready to go right now. Let's go right now. After Lawler had and Lawler's just looking at him like, whatever, bro. I just smashed your head in front of everybody, but What else?
Or Matt Lillin, they interviewed Matt Lillin after he got starched. He's like, obviously the ref thought there was a reason to stop the fight. Yeah, man, you were unconscious looking up at the ceiling with your eyes rolled back in your head for 10 minutes.
Well, Matt
That's
Lillin's
why.
a guy who sued his way into the Olympics, allegedly. I don't want to get sued.
But I
here,
think Overeem should have pulled a Vitor Belfort and said, you know what? When I had that choke on him, anyone who's watched my career, seen me submit people, I had him in the choke. I looked around, thought about he's in his hometown, the horrible things that Cleveland had to go through, the droughts in victory. And I said, you know what?
I like this.
And then he's going to say, Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah, right. And then say it was a verbal tap and then run out like Forrest.
Yeah. If you don't have Jesus, you end up watching your wife fuck the neighbors. That's without Jesus.
And then try to get a rematch by saying, you know, if we did this elsewhere, I would have held on, he would have tapped. But,
or just go across the cage and give him a front kick to the chest. Boom.
A la Fabricio Verdum. Yeah, how about Edmund Pervertian? Is he Lost Battalion?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Lost in space.
When you become when you become internet meme, where people are actually going through the trouble of making videos of your comedic exploits, you know, that's when Honda Housey's mom hates you, you know. This guy sent the follow-on text. She was cool, but we both know the power has shifted. I may need to procure some PEDs to get this one back. Now she thinks my Jimmy is named Eugene since I mumbled, fucking Eugene. Kids, do not think about erectile dysfunction when you're in a position to have erectile dysfunction.
Path for you, Eugene. A side gig is the fact that you have erectile dysfunction problems. I can help you.
Yeah, well, I'll do like Mr. Marcus. I can help you as long as you bring the woman by. No. I'm joking. Those days are over for me.
I got a follow-up text about your cuckold rant, Eugene, which wasn't Eugene married during all this, and what was his wife doing at the time?
What I don't remember what was the story.
You were talking about how much you loved cuckolds and not fucking their wives and the whole bit, but I'm just like,
this is clearly before I was married.
For 25 years.
He respects the sanctity of marriage, of his own marriage.
I went to my first orgy when I was 18, man. I've been doing this for a while.
I see. So you're one of these one-way street kind of swingles.
What do you mean?
Well, like you're swingle when you're single. But when you're in a couple, game over.
Well, as a married man, I've been in couples, but not married, and in which I was, share and share alike, my friend.
So you've been cuckolded. That's what we're trying to get at.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Cuckold is when it's taken from you by force. I've gladly.
Cuckold was like offering it up, like Renfield to Mr. Marcus.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah, I mean, those guys are guys who bring the woman and watch and getting off to a certain kind of humiliation. My thing has been like, you got something to trade or share, I got something. Give me Bucky Dent and I'll give you Vita Blue, and we switch the cards. You know. I
see. So you were sleeping with Bucky Dent. This is your claim.
Or Vita Blue, whatever your preference would be, you know. Or I mean, there on occasion, if you were trying to trade up into a threesome scenario, you would bring somebody to the party, a third, and then then some guys get confused. That's where it gets sticky, right? Where it's like, hey man, you owe me. I don't owe you shit. Okay, you see, you ate off my plate, and now you're not willing to give me something to eat off the plate. That's not right. You can't do it like that. You can't be one of those guys. I had a party. I invited you to a party. And the guy's like, well, I'll invite you to a party. No, that's not what I mean.
I see.
All you had to do is walk through that door.
The entire staff of Vox is saying this is patriarchal privilege, and you're talking about women as property.
Hey, no, my friend. They were happy recipients. They were happy recipients of world-class experiences.
I see. Okay. All right. Just clearing that up.
Yep. Yeah, and I'd be very surprised if people in that office didn't know exactly what I was talking about.
I don't think these kids know anything they haven't looked up on Wikipedia.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Hey, keep in mind, I ran Skullgate for 10 years too. You'd be surprised what happens.
Well, now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, at KidNate, at Alexi Old. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Who the fuck is tweeting you anyway? Tell them to mind their own goddamn business.
It says he's president of his local Cucks for Trump chapter and was pretty offended by your disrespect.
Oh, man. It's a political thing.
Yeah, there you
Leave
go.
comments on YouTube. Tweet Nate. Eugene. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube and MMA Nation iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another Stoned If I Did It. And we don't know what we'll be talking about yet because the PR kerfuffles have yet to be made.
And we'll have Care Don't Care preview tomorrow at the same time. So, Eugene, I'll see you then.
All right, man. All right, see you.